my fellow Jamaicans, my fellow Uniters, and my fellow freedom fighters. This is Joseph Patterson, President of the United Independence Congress of Jamaica. As you know, the UIC is preparing to lead a peaceful march on Gordon House tomorrow, the 22nd of September. It has just come to my attention that the police has found it necessary to release a special announcement just before the evening ends. The announcement says that it is unlawful for a public march to take place without a permit. It also says that it is an offense for someone to take part in a public march that is in breach of the Public Order Act. And finally, it says no permits will or have been given for public marches to take place. It is very sad that the police, the Jamaica Constabulary force, has found it necessary to put out such an announcement the evening before our march. It is also very unfortunate that the Jamaican people will have to defy these public pronouncements. First of all, it can never be unlawful for a Jamaican to walk in their country. It can never be necessary for a Jamaican to have to seek a permit to walk, or as they call it, march in their country. And so we're very saddened by that. So far, since our first Walk for Liberty in Kingston on August 6th, and then in Portmore, and then in Spanish Town, followed by Maypen, and then Mandeville, we've had a very cordial and very respectful relationship with the police, one that we definitely hope to continue. We therefore cannot accept this pronouncement from the police as acceptable. This is a violation of our rights, our freedom to walk, our freedom to gather, and our freedom to protest. The day we need permission to walk, to gather, or protest in our country is a day when we should realize that all of our freedoms are on the line. You all know that the reason we're walking in the first place is because our liberty is at stake. The Prime Minister has consistently been eroding the rights and freedoms of Jamaicans. They have sought to interfere with our freedom of speech. They have sought to interfere with our freedom of movement, and they're pushing to interfere with our freedom of choice. We cannot allow this, Jamaica. We cannot allow anybody, any group, or any government to take away our freedom of association, our freedom of movement, our freedom of choice. My God, our freedom to protest. If you have to get a permit to protest, you do not live in a democracy, you do not live in a free society. And we, the Jamaican people, are determined, 100% determined, to live in a free society. Our foreparents have fought for more than 400 years to secure these basic fundamental human rights. Now is not the time for us to give them up. Now is the time more than ever for us to fight like hell to protect those basic fundamental rights. I can assure you that tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., I will be present at Ward Theatre for our march on Garden House. And I implore you, every Jamaican, from east to west, to north and south, to join me tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at Ward Theatre as we gather and then peacefully and respectfully walk from there to Gordon House. We will not interfere with anybody's property. We will not interfere with traffic, and we will be totally peaceful and non-violent. But make no mistake about it, we are determined to take our message to Gordon House. We are determined to list our demands on the steps of Gordon House. And we're committed to ensuring that this government and no government wins the war against our freedom. We are going to secure our freedom one way or the other. Of course, we hope that it will be a peaceful way. We hope that good sense will prevail. We hope that the Prime Minister will understand that he and the other 63 parliamentarians, 21 senators, and 228 councillors exist at our pleasure. They exist and hold those offices because we allow them to hold it. And the moment they step over the line and begin to try to take away our fundamental freedoms is the moment we, the people of Jamaica, will remove them from office. I've already called upon the Prime Minister and our parliamentarians to resign. I've already called upon the Governor General to also resign. And you know why? They have been a most despicable group. They have chosen to support the interest of foreign masters as opposed to protecting the interest of the Jamaican people. They have chosen to put their desire for power ahead of the Jamaican people. The very Prime Minister who told us that we're in the midst of a pandemic called an election 9 months before it was necessary and put our lives at risk. The same Prime Minister did not listen to the UIC when we advised that they form a public health emergency council to ensure the process would be objective, transparent, and inclusive. That is the same Prime Minister who tried to skirt the laws by having senators sign undated resignation letters. That is the same Prime Minister who tried to skirt the law by manipulating the Chief Justice. That is the same Prime Minister who tried to force through a NIDS bill that was clearly unconstitutional. That is the same Prime Minister who is today lying to us about a biological technology that they wish to insert into the bodies of Jamaicans against their will. That is the same Prime Minister, the very same Prime Minister, who, upon accepting the resignation of one of his ministers, who clearly had no regards for his no movement day, that same Prime Minister turns around and is quickly trying to reward that minister with a plump position somewhere else. This is the same Prime Minister who has been embroiled in corruption after corruption after corruption, either directly or indirectly by association. This is the same Prime Minister who has no credibility in the eyes of Jamaican, having only received 21% of the votes of the voting population of Jamaica, which means the government, while it has a majority of seats, does not have a majority of support of the Jamaican people. This same illegitimate Prime Minister is now seeking to deny Jamaicans their basic right to walk on their own streets, their basic right to gather on their own streets, their basic right, Mr. Prime Minister, their basic right to protest your grotesque leadership, one that has caused the lives of more than 1,600 Jamaicans because you failed to introduce early treatment as opposed to pushing for one solution against the Jamaican people. Mr. Prime Minister, members of the Constabulary Force, Jamaican citizens, be it resolved that we, the people of Jamaica, will not back down. We, the people of Jamaica, will walk on our streets because they're ours to walk on. We will gather on our streets because they're ours to gather on. And we will march to Gordon House because it's our house. It belongs to us. It does not belong to you. And we are going to present our demands in front of that house because we have the right to do so. So, my friends, I invite each and every one of you, now more than ever, to make your way toward theater tomorrow, 9 a.m. Make sure you're there. Stand up for your liberty. Stand up for your right. Stand up for your country. Stand up for your freedom. Because if you don't stand up for it now, you may not have it tomorrow. So once again, thank you. I appreciate you. In fact, we're fighting for you. The United Independence Congress of Jamaica will not stop until freedom is returned to the Jamaican people and liberty is the norm in our lives and our street. And no government ever again has the power that this one has to dictate to you in any way, shape, or form. Thank you very much. Have a good night and see you tomorrow.